Hi, in this video I'm going to be giving you an introduction to the MemberPress rules and what they can do for you on your site. From your WordPress dashboard, start by navigating to the MemberPress plugin and then the Rules tab. From this page, you'll be able to edit any rules that you have previously created or add new ones. In this case, I'm just going to add a new rule. On this page, you'll be able to set what type of rule you're creating, in other words, what type of content you're protecting, and who in MemberPress or on your site gets access to the content that this rule is protecting. So let's go over the different types of content that you can protect. To start, we have an all content type rule. This rule will simply protect everything on your site. Don't use this rule unless you absolutely feel like it's necessary, simply because you may find that you have more customizability with a couple of other rules instead of having one rule that protects everything on your site. If, however, you still feel like you need an all content rule, we at MemberPress just recommend that you add the page IDs of your login page and of your MemberPress registration pages and any other pages that you want any user to be able to access regardless of their membership type. An important example of this would be the MemberPress account page. You do not want to protect that page. If you're unsure where to find the page IDs for these pages, then let me show you. For example, I'm on an edit page of my account page here, and 27 here would be the page ID. So if this was my rule type, I could enter in 27 as the ID for that. Just note that you have to have the page ID. You can't enter in like the title of the content and expect it to work. It has to be that page ID. Now let's look at some of the other types of rules we have. We also have an all content categorized, which will allow you to protect all content that is under a specific category. This applies to posts. You can create a rule that is all content tagged. So if you have a tagging system on your site, and MemberPress works with most tagging plugins, if it's not already native to your theme, that you can protect anything that's tagged with a specific tag. So you would just start typing the title of that tag here and it would appear, and you could protect all content for that tag. And then in addition to that, we have all posts, which allows you to add exceptions again, meaning you can enter in the post IDs and those will be excluded from your rule. And similar to that rule, we have an all pages rule, which will do the exact same thing except for pages. Just note that with our all content categorized and all content tagged, we do not support exceptions within a specific category or within a specific content. So you just need to make sure that everything that's within the category that you're protecting is something that you really want only your paid subscribers to have access to. In addition to these rules that kind of cover a big group of things, you have a single post rule. So for example, if you wanted to just protect one single post, you could do that. Again, you can get more specific to post categorized or post tagged. We also have a single page type rule, which again would just be allowing yourself to protect one single page. You can do child pages of. So what this will do is it will protect all the child pages of a parent page that you have selected here, regardless of if that parent page is protected or not. Okay. You also can protect you can protect groups. So this is a group within MemberPress, which is to say that if you were to protect all groups or a single group, for example, then only the users who you say have access to will be able to access that group pricing page. And you can also do child groups of. So if you have a parent group, you can protect all of the child groups associated with that parent group. Now let me spend a little bit of time to talk about a partial content rule. A partial content rule doesn't protect anything in and of itself simply by creating the rule, but rather you can create a partial content rule and then use our partial content codes to then protect content. And this would be useful if you want to protect, let's say, a paragraph or two on a post or page, but you don't want to protect the whole page or post. By clicking the partial content codes link here, you'll reveal this box that has these codes outlined. So for example, you could copy and paste these MemberShowIf codes and then wrap them around your content that you're looking to protect within a totally free and available post or page, or within another protected one if you'd like as well. This one will show content if the user has an applicable access based on this rule here, which I'll get to that later. And this one will actually hide the content, so not show the content, if a user has an applicable access here. So you can see how those would both be used. The PHP snippet should mostly be used on PHP template files. If you're wondering when or how you could use this and you don't have a developer on hand, feel free to reach out to us. But if you're not sure how to use this, chances are you probably won't need to use it either. Okay. So I will be covering custom URI rules in another video. So we'll go on from here. In this documentation video, I'm going to protect a single page just for demonstration purposes. And the page that I want to protect is called Documents. It's a page where my users have access to premium documents. So I have this page and I've selected it and found it, and the slug has appeared there, so everything looks good. Now I'm going to select who has access to this page based on this rule. So let's go over what kind of access we can give. You have two options. You can protect by membership, or you can protect by member. Let's do membership first. Selecting this will reveal another drop-down in which all of the memberships on your site will be available. In this case, I want my silver members to have access to it. So what this means is that this rule will check to see if the logged in user has an active membership to silver, right? Silver being my membership. MemberPress can only check access if the user is logged in, so just keep that in mind. I could also create an additional type that could be membership and then let's say gold. So I want both my silver and gold members to be able to access this content. Now the other drop-down option that we have here is member. Now what this does is allows you to type in the name of any member, select the member, and this member, MP test, will have access to this page or whatever this rule is protecting, regardless of having an active membership to gold or silver. In other words, whatever user you put here based on the member category, that member or that user will have access no matter what. So this is a good option if you want to have a page that's specifically accessible by one or a couple users, regardless of their membership type. Okay, so all that looks good to me. Now let's move on to some of the other settings that are available to you within our rules. Drip and expiration. These are covered in another documentation page, but let me explain them briefly here. What drip allows you to do is drip out content based on a specific trigger, or allow a user to access content based on a specific trigger that you set after so many days. You can enable however X amount of days, weeks, months, or years that you want. So for example, if I wanted to drip this page to my members associated with this rule after 1 week, then I would do something like that. So the options available to you here are member registers, meaning the date in which a member registers on your site, regardless of membership type. Fixed date, which allows you to enter in any date, meaning that, let's say I wanted this content to drip one week after today, then I would set it like that. Again, you can do member purchases any product from this rule. So that would mean if the member purchased silver or gold. And then you can do a member purchases a specific membership regardless of what's associated with this rule. But again, only the members associated with this rule will get access to the content. With expiration, this works in the exact same way as a drip does. In other words, you have all the same triggers options here, except what this does is when this trigger is reached, the content will become unavailable to everyone. Logged in, logged out, active subscriber or not, the content will be gone. So this is a good feature that you can use, for example, if you want to offer a limited time content to your users. And finally, per rule, you can override excerpts, the unauthorized message, and the login form. So for example, you can set anything that you want to be for an excerpt for this particular rule as is applicable to your setup. You can also either hide the unauthorized message altogether, leave it at default, or set a custom unauthorized message, which will give you this visual editor that you can then add in whatever kind of custom message you want based on this content that you're protecting. And you can also decide to leave the login form as the default option that is in your global options in MemberPress. You can show it specifically or you can hide it. Again, all to override whatever your default settings are in MemberPress. So, I've protected this, or I've created this rule. Let's go ahead and save it, and then I want to show you what this would look like to a non-logged in user who is trying to access my content. So I'm loading up that page here, and here's my unauthorized message that the user is getting. If they were logged in, they'd be able to see the content. With that basic introduction to how our rule setup works, we hope that you'll be able to start setting up your rules and protecting content on your MemberPress membership site.